Happy 2020, everybody. We are back. We decided to revive the Faster Fitness show that we had a couple years back. Everything that we talk about, fitness, nutrition, mindset, life, ultimately how to become a healthier and happier version of yourself. So let's get ready to go on the brand new episode of this show. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the revival of the Faster Fitness show. We are your hosts, Ivan Barrera, Frankie, Gonyea, here to talk about everything to help you become a healthier and happier version of you. So, Frankie, what have we been doing this whole time?
Well, I've been eating a lot since the last time. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I'm just happy that we made it through the holidays. I love the holidays. Don't get me wrong. Christmas is my favorite time of the year. But I am so thankful, and I guarantee you watching this right now are thankful to get back into your routine, right? Get back into your eating, just getting back into normal life. I feel like the last 2 weeks of the year were fake life.
It's fake life. It's like you don't know what day it is. You don't know what time it is. It's crazy. I know a lot of you guys can relate to that.
It's like, should I have a drink? Oh, no, it's 10 o'clock. Oh, yeah. Well, probably shouldn't do that. But it's, honestly, literally we're only 3 days into, like, the normal schedule, right? Everyone started back into work, school on Monday. I already feel so much better. I feel so much structure, and like going along with that, I think our first episode back, let's talk about, how to get back into it in 2020. I want to start off by saying how not to get back into it in 2020, and it's doing the same thing you've done the last couple of years. Right? How many times we see people, and when I was camping, I was in Joshua Tree this weekend with my friends. It was a great time to recharge the batteries. But one of my friends asked me, he's like, you guys do any 6 or 8 week challenges? And I literally, it was a couple years ago, I'd be like, yeah, we got
cringing
this one.
Inside.
But now I'm like, no, we don't. And he's just like, why not? Because I was like, I'm tired of lying to people, right? Don't get me wrong. Some of you out there, the 6-8 week challenge will help you out. It'll get you on the right path. But for a majority of people, it just fails you. And I'm tired of lying to people, honestly. Like, yes, I've lied to you in the past. I've admitted that I've failed you in the past as a coach, and no more doing that. So I kind of explained to him, most people go on these challenges, they come off, they gain all their weight back, and then they do another challenge, and then it's just the same process over and over and over again.
Exactly, exactly like he said, that's why we truthfully have stopped doing like 21-day, 4-week, 6-week, 8-week challenges. We stopped doing all that because what comes with that? There are a lot of diet restrictions. Like we give them a plan, like, hey, follow this stuff, when knowing that everybody's body is different than the other person, right? So this cookie cutter diet, and just in case if you are going to a gym or a trainer and they give you a cookie cutter plan of nutrition, run away, because that's not the best way to go about it. Like we're admitting to you, just because we've gone through this, we've gone through lots of people coming through our program, and we've grown as coaches, so we know that that doesn't work. So that's why we stopped doing a lot of this stuff. And what we really want to bring to light in this episode is how you can start on track, on the best track in 2020 when it comes to your health, when it comes to your nutrition, exercise, anything of that nature, maybe even how to have a better mindset. We want to help you with that. So let's dive right into that. So let's say the answer is usually it depends, because there's people who are, haven't trained ever, and like they want to get into a nutrition or an exercise habit. How do we approach that? And then we have the other end of the spectrum where we have an experienced worker outer, right? Somebody who's already been in the whole deal, or they've been working out, maybe have had a trainer in the past, they just want to get kickstarted. So let's go to that one end of the spectrum. Somebody who's brand new to fitness, brand new to nutrition. What's the one thing, because we want to simplify this for you. We don't want to give you this whole brainstorming session right now, but what's the one thing that person can do to really start on track in January?
Couple things. Well, I'll give you one thing, but just know for you newbies in here, there's no right way to do this, right? I love your answer. It depends. It truthfully does depend on the person. And, I was going to say, here's the right way to do things, but that's not even true. Here's a better way to do things, right? If you're brand new, I want you, it sounds very simple because it is, just commit to 2 days a week of exercise. That's it. I actually listened to one of my favorite podcasts, Mind Pump, and they talked about how, like, when they first started training, one of the biggest things that they, like, help them with new clients is They went from telling people like, well, if you're not going to train with me at least 3 days a week, then there's no point to doing it. Versus, but for some of you, maybe just 1 day, 2 day, you're better off. You're going to get better just doing that than doing nothing, right? So commit to at least 1 to 2 days of exercise. Honestly, if that's all you can do, you're better off at the end of 2020 than you were in 2019 doing nothing.
That is correct.
Right? At least you're moving a little bit more, you're burning a little bit more calories, possibly getting some new information that can help you transform. But my one advice to somebody that's new is honestly just 2 days a week. It's very simple, but that's it. Just commit to 2 days a week. You don't need to come in 5, 6 days a week. That's how you're gonna fail, by doing too much. Rather you do less, right? What's the least amount of things we can do to create the biggest adaptation? Essentially, that's what we're trying to do, right? Trying to build muscle, lose fat. That's what an adaptation is, right? If you coming in once a week for 1 month is helping kind of create that adaptation, then that's all we need. That's the minimal dosage that we need to progress you, right? So that'd be my number one thing.
I mean, at the end of the day, exactly what Frankie's talking about is you need to commit to something. But the problem is, us as humans, we like to overcomplicate things with our own mindset, right? We think that it can't be that easy. It cannot be as simple as me committing 1 day a week. That's not enough. How can you say that's not enough when you've been doing 0? Like, you don't know the benefits of what 1 day a week can do for you, and then what 2 days a week can do for you, right? Like, you need to slowly progress into this new person that you want to become, into this person that has new habits. And the reason why we can't get there is because we don't have the right approach. We don't have the right roadmap to get there. So what Frankie's saying, 1 day a week, 2 days a week, it could even be, when we say work out, it could even be of trying to get those 8 to 10 to 12,000 steps a day. Walking, right? Like, if that is not a big priority of yours, we both 100% agree that that's probably step number 1. Again, we're on this side of the spectrum. If you're a newbie and you haven't done anything fitness related, nutrition related, your number 1 thing for maybe all of January is to walk. Make that a consistent habit, because with habits is you keep doing it over and over again. You no longer think about it. It's just something that you do. You adapted to it, right? And then that's when you give yourself permission to go to the next thing, right? So then we talk about nutrition, or we talk about adding an extra day, maybe start doing some body weight training, just utilizing your own body and knowing how you move and improving on that, right? So let's go to the nutrition side of it, and still on the newbie side. What's something that newbie can do with the nutrition side of things?
Okay, so again, like what he was saying with just the exercise, sometimes nutrition is such an emotional thing for people. And the more and more I get into it, the more and more it's less about food necessarily and more about just like the connection we have to food, right? So again, going back, just backtracking before I give you advice on nutrition, it's okay if you don't want to focus on your nutrition for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5, 6 months, a year. I have clients that still don't want to talk to me about it, and they've been with me for 2 years. That's okay, because I know they're still getting better by coming in and exercising, right? They're hearing me. I can talk to you a little bit more about nutrition. They can hear things, and they can decipher what they want to do, right? So it's okay if you don't want to do anything with your nutrition yet, and you just kind of want to move a little bit more. But moving forward, for the person that does want some nutrition advice, simplest thing, if you're not eating any vegetables, I want you to just add at least 1 cup of vegetables per day. Literally, that's it. 1 cup of vegetable. That could be your dinner. You're adding a cup of broccoli. Whatever vegetable you like, actually. Just do something.
That's important to know, right? It's like you don't want to struggle by eating vegetables that you hate. We want you to eat vegetables that you actually do enjoy, right?
Yeah. So pick 1 vegetable, literally, and just add a cup. Right? Add a cup of vegetables. If you're feeling up to it, maybe you add 2 cups. You add 1 at lunch, 1 at dinner. What that's going to do for you, first, the vegetables, they're typically full of water, fiber. They have a ton of micronutrients, which are vitamins and minerals. And that helps us get fuller quicker. It sustains fullness longer, right? So then we're less likely to reach for the sugary foods, the processed foods, right? I guarantee you just adding 2 cups of vegetables, 1 to 2 cups of vegetables per day will keep you full, satisfied, reduce cravings longer, So you eat less food overall in your day, helping you get into a calorie deficit, and that's how we lose weight.
So that's a simple, very, very simple version of what to do and what to focus on when it comes to nutrition. Literally, we have clients that come in bombarded with the amount of information that they have because, again, us as humans, we want to, I don't know why, we want to make things overcomplicated for ourselves when us, the professionals, we're telling you, when it comes to nutrition and you're doing nothing as far as to benefit your health, 1 cup of veggies. Really? That's it? Yes, that's it. Because then, like walking, these vegetables, 1 cup per day or per meal, whatever we can do, it becomes a habit to the point where you don't think about it anymore. You have adapted to that. Now you move on to the next thing, right?
Yeah.
And what we've been talking about, I actually thought about a recent client that just signed up with us, hasn't been with us for about 2 years, and, kind of went the opposite direction as far as where she was at. Like her fitness dwindled a little bit, nutrition went off the rails. And then the conversation, even for myself, I talked to her when she came in. The conversation was very different because back then I probably would have said, all right, I want you to follow this. I want you to come in 4 or 5 days a week. And now, as we've grown as coaches, we've evolved, and the conversation changed where I'm like, look, I don't even want you to think about food for the next 30 days. I really don't, because I want exercise, because you say that's the hardest. In reality, exercise, nutrition is hard for people, but the hardest thing is to stay consistent with exercise. So I want you to come in 2 days a week. That's it. Tuesday and Thursday, you're coming here for the next 30 days. Let that become a habit. Then we can focus on a nutrition aspect of things like vegetables, protein, whatever it is that we want to talk about. That person is going to have much better success in the long run than the person that we say, hey, come in, balls to the wall, 5, 6 days a week, get on this restrictive diet plan. Who's going to win at the end of the day there?
One thing I always kind of preach is flexibility equals sustainability, right? If you're not flexible in your approach, it's not sustainable. If it's not sustainable, it's not doable. Then you find yourself trying to lose the same 20 pounds every single year, right? Our goal now is sustainability, right? Don't get me wrong, there's a time, place for meal plans, things like that. But for most of us, we need something that's sustainable too. And one of my habits this year for coaching, one of my themes for coaching is simplicity. How do I make all this stuff simpler for you, right? Because I'm talking to the masses here. I'm not talking about athletes or anybody that's high fitness level. I'm talking about you out there who's struggling just to step foot in the gym. I want to make this simple for you, right? And the simplest way is kind of what we're talking about, is literally just taking one thing at a time. One of the books I'm currently reading is Atomic Habits. And we've preached it before, 1% better every day. And that 1 cup of vegetables every day, that 1 to 2 days of exercise every day, that's being 1% better every single day. Because what ends up happening is you eat those vegetables every day, you work out your 2 times a week, it gets you in a different mindset to start thinking about. You're a little bit more cautious of, now should I eat this? Like I just busted my butt in the gym, right? And that's getting you 1% better. 1% better every day equals 33% better at the end of the year. If I were to tell you, sit you down right now and tell you, hey, at the end of the year, at the end of 2020, you're going to be 33% better with your fitness, with your nutrition, with your weight loss. Would you take that? Guarantee you every single person would take it. Right? So why are we trying to get 100% better every single day in the month of January?
In 30 days.
In 30 days, right? And I always tell people the same thing. If I were to tell you lost 30 pounds in a year, would you take that? Yes. If I told you 20 pounds, yes. Now, what if I told you you didn't lose that 20 pounds until the last 4 months of the year? Would you still take it? Yes. So why are we always trying to put a time frame on when we're going to lose weight? The best transformations I've seen were the people that they got patient with it. They started listening and doing the little things, right? Because sometimes in the beginning, the little things, eating the cup of vegetables, the movement, creating a little bit more movement, it doesn't always necessarily equate to a big change right away, but consistency over time equates to the changes that you're seeking to make. I had an online client, same thing. She was with me for 6 months. The first 3 months, about 2 or 3 pounds she lost. By the end of the 6 months, she was down over 20 pounds. And that didn't happen until the last 2.5 months of working with her, right? And she's kept it off. I just talked to her today. She's kept all the weight off, right? So again, same thing. I told her the same thing in the beginning when she was struggling, I'm not losing weight. I'm not losing weight. I'm like, you need to continue to do these things on a daily basis because they're going to compound, right? The compound effect. They compound into making bigger changes overall, right? So patience is another thing I would preach to you besides the 1 to 2 days a week of exercise, adding a cup of vegetables. Breathe. It's okay. I promise you, have a support system. You will make the changes if you're consistent with it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think time and time again, when we advise people to do these little changes, both on the exercise front and on the nutrition front, there's one thing that I feel that sets a lot of people back, and that's not allowing themselves to be successful. And here's what I mean by that. There's always something, and it's a reoccurring theme with a lot of people, is that whether they fail on the exercise front because they just stop coming, they're like, I don't want to come anymore because what's the point? They're not allowing themselves to be successful because they've already accepted defeat. You know, on the nutrition side of things, oh, I messed up because I binged all weekend and then my Monday's starting off bad, so might as well just keep going Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They didn't allow themselves to stay consistent and forgive themselves on what they did bad, right, in the weekend. It's like, they're all setbacks. Guys, this is a lifetime. Fitness doesn't end. I don't know if you've heard of this before. I don't know if you need this news flash, but fitness, nutrition, health, it doesn't end.
Since when?
Since when? Since...
Does it end in 6 weeks?
No. 30 days, nothing. It's a lifetime. So why don't you be okay with knowing that there are going to be setbacks? Just like anything else in life, there's going to be setbacks. There's going to be things that hold you back. Life, family, kids, work, schedule, like everything is going to come at you, but it's all about what you're able to control. Control the controllables, right? There's a lot of things that you can't control.
Yeah.
So which leads me to this whole topic is how to make 2020 your best year yet. Even just January your best month yet, because that's going to kickstart things, right? Now we talk about something I love, it's mindset. So we talk about being okay with messing up from time to time, right? Like January should not be a month that you, again, go balls out, like I need to come every day, I need to be consistent with everything. Just know that you are doing little habits that are gonna create a big change, compounding effect. 10 months down the road, 12 months down the road, 18. The further you get, the better off you're gonna be. You don't even realize what's the body changes, weight loss, and all that is a bonus. You don't understand what that's gonna do to your mind. You don't know what that's gonna do to the people around you. You're gonna show up better in your family. You're gonna show up better at work. Your energy is gonna skyrocket. And these are things that most trainers and other places that you go to that offer weight loss solutions or whatever, they don't tell you these things because I don't know, they maybe see those things as a bonus and they want you to focus on the weight loss, when in reality, the numbers are bonuses. The belt loops that go down, those are bonuses. What's gonna happen is you're gonna literally change mentally, physically, emotionally, things get better. People come to us all the time when they make these changes, like a year down the road, like when they finally feel confident enough to tell us because they couldn't tell us a year back because their relationship got so much better. They started doing more things because of this little change. Obviously, there's other things that go with that, but it all starts from these little habits, right, that can truly transform you. And why not let this year be the one that changes everything for you? Because you're only one step away from being that healthiest and happiest version of yourself. You are one little change, one little tweak away from transforming everything. And that's really what I want you to know and just like internalize that today.
And I think I'm going to tell you something you might not want to hear, but you're probably going to fail at least once, twice, 3 times this year. You're going to have setbacks, right? Don't quit, right? I made a post earlier today about 3 ways to crush your goals this year, and one of them is you will fail. You will have setbacks. It's not always smooth sailing, right? And that's why these challenges sometimes suck, because they give you false expectations of, oh my God, I lost 10 pounds in 6 weeks. Yeah, that's cool, but then what happens when you gain it back? What do you do from there? You just curl up in a ball and you quit, right? You know, you're gonna fail. It's inevitable. We failed multiple times at business stuff. You know, we failed multiple times at being the best possible coach, right? But you learn from it and you just don't quit. You just keep moving forward. You know, I always tell clients when they're struggling, the scale's not moving, the scale's not moving. Are you doing everything that we need to be doing? Are you working out consistently? Are you meal prepping? Are you eating out less than you eat in? You know, are you walking daily? Are you drinking enough water? Are you sleeping? How's your stress level? Like, if you're checking all those boxes, right, most people aren't. they're just like, oh, I'm eating healthier. Like that doesn't mean anything, right? Mastering the little things consistently helps you overcome failures, because like we're talking about habits, they start controlling where it's just second nature to me now, where I know I meal prep, I drink water, I go on walks, right? It was a struggle in the beginning, right? But those things help you when you fail, because we can fall back on something that can help you keep progressing forward. And again, you will fail. It's okay. It's okay.
It's part of the process.
It's okay. It's okay. We're here for you when you fail, right? We're here to keep you moving forward, because motivation is just a feeling. It's comes in small doses.
It doesn't last. It doesn't
right?
last.
Same thing, motivation, love, all those things are just feelings. They don't last all the time. You need to continue to do things to help you grow in those areas, right? That's why you go to the gym when you don't want to sometimes, right? Because you know that it's going to help you get in a better mindset. You know that you do better when you work out. There's going to be times when you don't want to meal prep, right? But you do it anyways, because it helps you stay on track, right? Those are the things that you need to continue to do, because ultimately you'll fail a couple times this year. But when you don't quit and you're consistent, you will have success in the long run too.
100%. And so we talked about just now, like the things that you can do, little changes that you can do to start off the month great, how to start off the year phenomenally, right? And it's an overarching theme. What is the one thing? What is the one thing that you can focus on this month on the exercise front? We mentioned 1 to 2 times a week consistently, and that's walking for the people who are more experienced, strength training, maybe it's running some trails, doing some stair workouts, like whatever it is for you, only you know that, right? And if you don't, we'll help you with that. But being consistent with that on the exercise front. And then once you got that down, what's the one thing that you can do to improve your nutrition? We talked about adding a couple of vegetables to your meals. Once you got that down, then it's time to work on you, right? Time to work on the people around you. Like, it's all about mindset at the end of the day. So we truly feel that this and the things that we talked about today is ultimately what's going to help you become the healthiest and happiest version of yourself in 2020. So we were talking about one end of the spectrum where someone is brand new to fitness, brand new to nutrition, just like finally had the courage to say, enough is enough. I want to become a healthier and happier version of myself. But then on the different side of the spectrum, there's somebody who has experience working out. Maybe they are really, maybe they have a habit of walking already as it is, or hiking, or doing strength training, whatever the case may be, your experience on the fitness side of things, you've meal prepped in the past, maybe you just have a lot of experience, but you want to get to that next level. Frankie, just like the person that we spoke about, what is one thing that the more experienced person can do on the fitness side of things
to get better in 2020? So if you have kind of like a lot of the stuff we talked about down, right? You're consistent with your workouts, meal prep, all that stuff like that. I think one thing for the fitness side is to change up what you're doing, right? Because a lot of times people get caught up doing the same thing over and over, right? Maybe it's time to try something new, a new type of program out, new type of coaching. Maybe it's you've just done group classes your whole time. Maybe you've just done high intensity training like an Orange Theory, an F45. Maybe it's time to go somewhere else and do some strength training. Or if you've done strength training in a group class, maybe it's time to do some small group training, some personal training. Maybe there's an online coach you love and you've been following forever and they have a program you want to follow. Maybe it's doing something completely new like an OCR, like an obstacle course race, something like that. Helps you evolve, because if we do the same thing over and over, our bodies are really good at adjusting to what we're doing, right? You do the same exact workout over and over again, eventually diminishing returns, you don't get the same results, right? So that's why we do periodization, block-based training, where we change up reps, we change up amount of volume you're doing, we change up the type of exercises you're doing, so that you can always be progressing, right? So for the person that has some experience, one thing I would suggest is maybe it's time to change it up, right? Change it up, new program. Maybe you've never lifted, try to see how much weight you can lift before. Maybe that's what you go into. Maybe all you've done was try to lift as heavy as possible. Maybe now it's time to go lighter, higher repetition, that's what I would suggest for somebody who has had some experience.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, there's so many areas that we can cover. That's why we don't want to name them all. But for the time's sake, as far as someone who has done very light and little bit of strength training, right? If you just don't know where to go from here, that is when you should probably talk to a coach. Maybe talk to somebody who's experienced in that realm of fitness, right? Because then that gives you a better perspective, gives you a better idea of what is the next step for me. This is where I'm at now. This is where I want to be. I just need more information. Because we still get, it's crazy. It's 2020 and we still get, females saying that I don't want to lift weights because I'm gonna get bulky. It's like, man, weren't we talking about this like 20 years ago or 10 years ago? I just, but I understand that it's a fear because maybe some videos that you see online, you see these strong ladies, right, lifting heavy weight. And maybe because that person, that female that they showcase in that video is a little bit larger than most, and then you'd probably want to be like, that doesn't mean that's the case for everybody. So maybe that gives you a little bit of fear of moving to that next step. But in reality, that is not the case, right? You just want to know what you can do next because like Frankie's saying, diminishing returns on doing the same thing over and over again if you've done it for so long, right? So at the end of the day, I think we both will agree that you want to do something that you enjoy, right? Because fitness can be very lonely sometimes. It could be repetitive if you're not constantly changing up. And I don't want to say that variety is everything because you won't get good at anything if you do that. But you, at the end of the day, need to have fun. Whether if you hire a coach, you need to have fun with your coach. You need to make sure that you enjoy their style of training. You get a good sense of energy and motivation every time that you come in, right? That's the kind of feedback that we get here at Faster Fitness, and that's why we want to go above and beyond for our clients so they enjoy their experience here. So what is that for you, right? So that's the fitness side of things. Anything else you want to add on there?
I would say, yeah, like you were saying, it can get lonely. Like the last 2 months, I've just been doing strictly strength training, more bodybuilding, which I hadn't done in probably since before we started here. So over 7 years before I followed like a bodybuilding program. And it definitely is a lonely road sometimes because it's just you by yourself sometimes. But one thing I've decided to add in, because I know like after a month, 2 months, I can feel that burnout coming. So like yesterday, I went and I did an outside workout. I got outside, kind of recharged my batteries. I'm ready to go today to get back into my program, getting into essentially the basics and mastering those things, right? So maybe it's just sprinkle in 1-2 times a week. You go outside. If you're in a place where you can go outside, get some sun, maybe it's a beach workout. We try to throw those in throughout the year because they just recharge the batteries. It gets you re-inspired, re-motivated to stay on track again. And I think you need to sprinkle those things in throughout the year to help you too.
Yeah, 100%. So hopefully that brought a little bit of insight as far as what to do on the fitness side. So just like we talked about the person before who's new, same thing with you. I want to keep this conversation where you're at today, right? A little bit more experience than most. So now we talk about nutrition, right? We talk about nutrition. What's the one thing that you can focus on in 2020 to improve, the nutrition aspect of things to really see results? Because like you've heard on videos and on pictures that you see on social media, abs are made in the kitchen. That is 100% true, right? So as far as like my suggestion when it comes like if you're somebody who hasn't meal prepped, right? Maybe you've done a little bit of it sporadic throughout the year. Now it's time to get really consistent with it. Now it's time to really go all in with meal prep because here's the difference between him and I. You get different perspectives when it comes to both of us. He cooks all of his stuff. I absolutely hate cooking unless it's breakfast. I crush breakfast. You don't even understand.
Avocado
right? Toast. Scrambled eggs. But here's the thing. But here's the thing, right? Because I'm aware enough that I don't possess the skill set of cooking all these great and healthy meals, I have people in my life that are meal prep providers. So I order all of my meal prep ahead of time, Monday through Friday or even Saturday. I am set, right? All 3-4 of my meals per day with the amount of vegetables I want to have, with the amount of protein that my body needs, the amount of carbs that my body needs. I feel phenomenal because I prepped for success, right? And that's maybe something that you haven't been consistent with. Maybe you've done it on Sunday because you're motivated for the new week, but you only did enough to Tuesday and Wednesday. And then what? Middle of the week, you don't really know where to go from there. And then you start eating out, and then you start eating things that you probably shouldn't. And then maybe alcohol consumption comes into, and then, it blows up. But maybe those are some of the scenarios that you've been a part of, in 2019. These are some of the things that you can focus on. That one thing that you can focus on, it boils down to consistency, right? And that's my little tip as far as nutrition, is being consistent and going all in on meal prep more times than not in 2020. What's yours, Frankie?
So I would say somebody who has a little bit more experience, you know what foods you should be eating, you shouldn't be eating, things like that. Maybe it's time to start learning how to track your food, right? Tracking just doesn't have to be forever. I never preach, I teach people how to track food with coaching, but I don't say it should be forever, right? But sometimes, tracking creates awareness, and creating awareness around things is how you get change, right? Whether that's just all you're gonna do is start tracking your protein to kind of see where your calories are. Maybe it's just food journaling. It's not necessarily even weighing your food. It's just writing down everything that you eat and being honest with yourself, because awareness creates change, right? We're very good at, when we do things that we're not supposed to, about like, I'm not gonna talk about that one, right? But bringing light to it, right? Like example, I had a client, she was snacking off of her kids' plates, right? When they were done, she was eating off of it. She had no idea, because she's done it for so long, that she was doing it. And I remember asking her one time, and she was just like, a light bulb clicked. She's like, oh my God, I do that every single day for the last 10 years. And she stopped doing that, and the scale went down, right? She was tracking her food, but she was untracking. That could have easily been an extra 200-300 calories she wasn't tracking per day. All we did was create awareness around it. I didn't even tell her to stop doing it, but she just stopped because she had awareness around it. So sometimes this food journaling or tracking your food helps create awareness around the type of food you're eating, the quality of food you're eating. Like a big problem for people is snacking, and typically snacking happens because you're not eating enough of enough protein, enough vegetables in your meals, causing you to feel hungry, to not feel satisfied too. So my tip would be to start tracking your food.
Yeah. So meal prepping and tracking, 100% a recipe for success. So if maybe one or even two of these things, something you're not doing today, we 100% agree that if you did put this into your routine, automatic transformation, automatic, things will feel better internally, physically, emotionally, things would just be a lot better. So we're still talking about the experienced person here. All right, we're talking about what can we do? What's the one thing in these different areas that we can focus on to have the best 2020? So when we talk about mindset, we talked about, getting to a place at the end of the year that's better than we're at today. I think progress and seeking better for ourselves is always a staple that we should probably possess as humans. We always want to be the best versions of ourselves, and we hope that that's what you strive to do. So my thing is, when it comes to this whole fitness and nutrition thing, if you are a little bit more advanced, I think that advanced goal setting is something that you definitely need in your life. So let me explain. This person who builds up the courage to finally say enough is enough, I want fitness and nutrition to be a part of my lifestyle now, that's just a thought in your mind now, and you go based off of that. But the problem with thoughts that we have every day, they come and go. So it's not real. And that's why I really want you to put pen to paper, and that's when you start writing. You start writing your goals. Like you start writing what it is that you want out of 2020. So for example, we have a roadmap that we follow every single year. I'm kind of almost done with it. I know you're still working on it too. But part of it is being consistent, for me, being consistent with 10,000 steps a day. For whatever reason, I just don't walk a lot and I need to walk more. So I put that pen to paper, and it's in a place where I get to see it almost every single day. And that's just that constant reminder where it becomes a habit. It triggers me to want to go out and do it. And maybe you haven't done that, right? Maybe you haven't written things down. You haven't reflected on 2019. What's the good, the bad, and the ugly that's happened in 2019? Because reflection, when you have reflection in your life and you think about the things that you've gone through, good or bad, it sets you up for success because of the things that you do want more of in 2020. The more good things that you want, less of the bad things. So you're preparing your mind in order for knowing what to do in 2020, but you have to write those things out and then constantly remind yourself what it is that you're striving for in 2020, right? So that's advanced goal setting. That's a strong suggestion that I have for you as far as how to get to that next level. So anything on the mindset, Frankie, like as far as
just real quick, I think for you guys that have a little bit more experience, is just challenge yourself, right? Do something different this year. Try something new this year. You know, I always tell people obstacle course race or something like that. Maybe there's something you wanted to do. Maybe it's you want to get better at rock climbing. You wanted to go, I don't know, just something along those lines. Set a date for it. Do it. Pick a race, you know, pick a day. You know, if you want to rock climb, maybe you switch out one of your workouts per week to do rock climbing. Do something fun, right? Again, that keeps the juices flowing in the sense of keeping you consistent on doing the things that you know you should be doing, but sometimes they just get repetitive and boring.
Yeah.
That's why I love doing obstacle course races. You know, I took some time off from doing them. You know, my goal is by the end of the year to have something on the books for another race to kind of keep me motivated, my head in the game too. So sometimes just challenge yourself differently this year. Do something you haven't done before. Do something you're uncomfortable probably. You've wanted to do it, but you're scared to do it. Just do it. And that's my tip for motivation for the experienced person.
100%. So we covered two different types of people. We hope that you fell either in one of the two categories or somewhere in between. I guarantee that some of the information that we brought to you today will serve you for this month and the entire year. So I hope you took notes. I hope that you set some goals for yourself. You focus on the one thing, not a lot of things, on the one thing in fitness, the one thing in nutrition, the one thing with your mindset and motivation to move you forward to be the healthiest and happiest version of yourself in 2020. Thank you for joining us in the Faster Fitness Show. We'll see you next time.
Have a good one.